I have to ask you about the torn ACL. So I don't think I've ever heard of anybody playing with a torn ACL. You played 3 more games. You went 3-0, by the way.
Yeah.
Why didn't that setback end that season for you?
Yeah. I think it's a culmination of the entire story. So when I was blocked from my release in order to go directly to another college, I got offered a lot of scholarships that I couldn't take. I was forced to either choose to go to Division I AA or go to junior college and take 28 hours and graduate with an AA degree in 1 semester, which would then get me back to being able to go play Division I football. I had to walk on at Vanderbilt. I earned a full scholarship, then became the captain and starting quarterback. That journey alone and the adversity makes you very, very appreciative for any opportunity that you have. Then I lost my grandfather, who's my hero, on Tuesday of that Georgia week, and I tore my ACL on Saturday. I played that game for him. I remember laying on the field when I tore my ACL. I looked up at the sky, and I remember kind of an out-of-body experience where I just said to myself, like, he's up there and has lost his life. Like, this is a knee. This is a part of my body. And in that moment, I found a ton of strength. I had a bunch of teammates that cared about me. I had been through a lot. And so really, I actually segued into, I need to be here for my family right now. And so I went straight into the mode of being there for my dad and being there for my brother and sister. And I actually went and flew back, spoke at his funeral, then flew back to Vanderbilt. And the doctor looked at my knee and he was like, Austyn, you barely have any swelling in your knee. And I was like, okay, well, my ACL is torn though, right? And he's like, yeah, it's torn. But he's like, if you let your MCL repair, he's like, it's going to be hard and it's going to be painful, but you could have the opportunity to play on a torn ACL. And I was like, say less, dude, let's go. So at that point, you know, people ask me that question all the time. And I guess like I bring it full perspective and saying, I don't even think I found the strength within myself. I think it was the journey, my grandfather, my teammates, my coaches, that didn't really give me a choice. I wanted to do it, and that was giving me new life. And so I did it. And I think my grandfather had a lot to do with that. And so I think, you know, in times where we struggle, we have to lean on other things in order to push us through it a lot of the time. And I had a lot of other things that I was able to lean on in that moment.
Yeah. Total confidence in your abilities. That's really tough to come by under even perfect circumstances. Tell me about the internal conversations that you maybe had with yourself around that injury. There had to be a component of doubt, fear, pain, of course. How did you attack that knowing that you weren't even close to 100%?
Yeah. You know, for me, I will answer the question more so with perspective from my freshman year as opposed to my senior year. Through the injury, that out of body experience where I had motivations that were pushing me, kept me away from the fear and the day. It hurt. But you know, for me, it was new life. It was extra life. I would say that really applies to when I was a true freshman. I was ignorant, right? You're young, you're naive, and you're just playing the sport. And I had a lot of fun. And so, you know, I study the mind a lot. And I would say I was in flow state, you know, 90% of the time that I was playing football. I was happy-go-lucky. I was enjoying what was going on. My senior year, and really my junior and senior year, James Franklin, amazing man, but very tough to play for at quarterback in the sense that you are an NFL quarterback. The decisions that you make are, you know, there is no 60-yard gain. That's a great thing if you missed the first read. You know, the first read is what it is. That's statistical and analytical success. And so I know that fear and frustration with myself really kicked in when I was a senior. Because I was no longer this happy, let's just go play, line me up anywhere and I'll do it. That kind of had fallen to the wayside. I was now more so a very analytical competitor. And so that's when I started to feel things like fear, to feel things like doubt. And that internal conversation started to change a little bit. And it was tough to remedy with that.
Did you learn anything about yourself from that injury?
Absolutely.
Maybe not right away, but maybe now that you've had time to reflect, how did you kind of change mentally after you went through that experience?
I think it was focus for me, in life, so many of us struggle with the past or the future, and anxiety plays such a factor in so much of our lives day to day nowadays. And for me, what I was able to do with all of those, battles that I was facing was really channel all of that to stay one track minded. And so with the injury, like, it was merely survival. And so as I'm thinking surviving and being able to play, it kept me very, very focused on one direct path. And I think that that focus is what allowed me to not trip on a lot of other things that people typically trip on. And that's where I say, I don't know that I would have been able to tear my ACL and still be okay had I not lost my grandfather. What's really cool is I also don't think that I would have been able to handle the passing of my grandfather without having a torn ACL and kind of doing that for him. So we wonder why life does this stuff to us. And I've learned to just trust the plan. And for me, that was what I received from that experience, was the ability to trust that everything's going to be okay.